All right, welcome to the Story Geek Show. With me today to talk about the new Andor trailer is NERDSoul himself. What's up, Michael? How you doing?
Hey, how's it going? I am happy that we look. We got some good Star Wars. I'm excited. I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready too. It's gonna be good. So what we'll do is we will go through the trailer. Now we've both already seen it, so this is not a total reaction. This is more of us talking about our thoughts about the trailer specifically. So if you haven't seen the trailer, we're gonna go through it kind of slow and like pause it and talk about various things. So we might interrupt it a little bit. But if you've already seen it, I'm interested in hearing your thoughts about it in the comments below as well. So make sure you give us your comments, and we will talk through this. But Michael, you were telling me you've not only seen the trailer, which I've seen too,
Mhm.
you went back and watched the previous trailer, which we all saw before. It was the teaser trailer. You went back and watched
Yes,
that, and then you went
I
and
went
back
back
and
and watched
watched the
that.
trailer
Yeah.
again.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's dedication. Now, okay, so just as before we start watching, compare the two, the teaser with this full trailer. Like, which one do you
Huh.
prefer? Like, compare the two.
This one, the first one, I was still kind of on the fence. I
Yes.
was just like, I don't know. I was like, it looks good, but I was just like, I don't know if I really care about Cassian Andor that much.
Yes.
But seeing the way they're building this out, where he's kind of like a part of a larger growing movement, then I'm definitely excited now.
Okay, I
Seeing
felt the
the
same
seeing the
way, by the way.
political side, seeing
Yep.
seemingly it seems like they're handling the political side the way I said they should have handled the political side in the prequels, but it doesn't matter now. This over. It's over. We're getting past that. We're moving past that. We're going beyond.
I agree with you 100% on the two trailers. By the way, the first trailer, I was like, I don't know. I couldn't tell what they were going for in the first trailer. It didn't
Mhm.
differentiate itself from like the Kenobis and from the Book of
Yeah,
Boba Fett. Like it didn't get me in a space where I understood what they were trying to accomplish. But this trailer, I think, gets us way further along into what we can say.
definitely.
Where does this fit in the style of Star Wars that different kinds of people gravitate toward? And this is, I'm just gonna like lead the conversation with this. This is the kind of Star Wars that I am here for.
Yes, this
This
one
is
I'm
cool.
definitely excited now.
Yes.
I'm all in now.
Yeah. In fact, Michael is so excited that I was gonna do a reaction video to this trailer, but I was like, oh, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'll do it later or whatever. And then Michael messages me. He's like, hey, if you're gonna talk about that Andor trailer, I'm in. So I'm like, yes, we have a whole show now. It's perfect. All right, so let's go ahead and watch this trailer and go ahead and break it down step by step here. All right.
All right,
Let's
Disney, don't hate on us now.
make sure everyone can hear it too. If you can't hear it for some reason, let me know. It should play the audio just fine, but just in case. Okay, so this is the first thing I wanted to comment on.
Mhm.
Is this dude looks like he just has like an AK-47 or something that he just picked up off.
Yeah,
Like it's
and
it's weird.
it already seems like we're setting up for a group of people that they're at their limit. You
Yes.
know, they're at their limit. You know,
Yes.
we open up with like a dude just walking up with a gun. So
That's right. That's right. This dude,
they
yeah,
they've
this
had
guy's
it with the
serious.
Empire at this point. At least it seems like.
Yeah, we don't even know what these people are like worried about because we can't really see. Like, if you go back a little bit, these
Mm,
people are
yeah.
obviously climbing, and they
Mm.
get worried about something. Like, they must hear something. I mean, obviously, we're gonna see it in a minute, probably, because I think I remember where this goes. And then
Yeah.
they got this cool like. I don't know. I love this style of like they put these things together themselves. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's such a cool style.
Because we're starting to see all of these people that were kind of either pushed aside
Yeah.
or thrown out by the Empire,
Yep.
and they're kind of having to cobble together stuff from the prequel era or something, and kind of make their own thing. That's why I always like the way the X-wings looked, because they never looked like some brand new. It didn't look like a fresh Porsche off the lot. Like
That's
they
right.
all look like they had seen brighter days.
That's right. Well, actually, I was just watching the ILM documentary too, which is, by the way, worth it because that is an awesome
Okay.
documentary. It's on Disney Plus. But in the ILM documentary, they were talking about how George was like all the Empire stuff is like off the assembly line, but all the Rebel stuff is people like building hot rods. Like they'll like how like Poe did with his X-wing. It's like they tweak it, they change it, they try to make it better. I thought that was kind of cool. That's kind of a cool way of putting it. All right, so let's see what else we got here. This is actually one of my favorite shots. This kind of one coming up here.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Like that's gotta be crazy.
Yeah, oh, it's insane. And look at they're trying to give it scale too, because you can see these little tiny. These aren't birds, from what I can tell. These are actually escort vehicles, right? So like somebody was complaining like online, like, oh, it's too small. I'm like, dude, you could barely see the little TIE fighters that are actually escorting this thing into the port.
And
I mean,
then seeing the scale of it with that, like I guess that hill or mountain, beside it.
Yes,
it's the only thing that, well, this is kind of like a scientific thing.
Yeah.
Shouldn't like the earth be like shaking with something that low to the, but look, forget it. It's Star Wars. Don't ask no questions.
Yeah. There's we're not going to Neil deGrasse Tyson this because it is Star Wars, but I totally know what you mean. Like there's probably a certain amount of rumbling that would be happening.
It should. Because, like, even when like a dump truck drives down your street, you can kind of feel like a little rumble. And like this is slightly larger than a dump truck.
It's a little bit bigger. Oh yeah. This is the moment of the trailer. And I didn't realize how many people were involved in making Rogue One that are involved in making this, because it says like from the creators of Rogue One or whatever. And I didn't realize that until I saw this moment, because Rogue One probably has the best active capital ships that appear in an atmosphere, because you have it in you've got it in like Force Awakens, but usually they're like they've crashed, right? Like they're not like
true.
I can't remember a moment where they're actually flying in the atmosphere, but like Rogue One did that, and it was like, oh, I've never seen that before. That's awesome. Or when you see the Death Star in Rogue One coming up over the horizon or whatever, like that was amazing. Yeah, so I love this kind of bringing space into an atmosphere is like just it's wild. Now this looks like a spice mine to me. Like if we go back to even Solo, like you've got that kind of like big giant mining colony type of a deal. And then I'm assuming, based on what we are about to hear, that this is little Andor.
Yeah, baby Cass.
That's right, baby Cass.
This shows how it kind of to me shows the scale of like this huge operation, this huge world, and little old me,
Yes. This is classic Star Wars. Like when you show like a younger kid in this big world, and it's like, this kid is going to go on to do much bigger things, but all he knows is like stealing stuff from a mine. You know what I mean? Like, that's very Star Wars.
To steal from the Empire? To just walk in like you belong.
I love
They're
that
so
line.
proud.
Yeah. Just walk in like you belong.
Because he goes on in a little bit to say like, like they're so big that they don't even really pay attention anymore.
Yes.
Like, because since everyone's a number, like as long as you just slide in and don't say anything,
right.
Like nobody's gonna ask any questions.
Yeah, totally.
Because like when you look at these large like the large ports where they have, troopers going that way, troopers going this way, and people carrying stuff, and like just one guy just walk, as long as you don't do anything crazy, as long as you just walk like you know where you're going, nobody's gonna ask you anything.
Exactly. And this shot's crazy too, because have we seen this room since the prequels?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either, unless we saw it in like one of the animated shows, but not in live action. And what's crazy is go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
You go ahead. You go for it.
I think like this is not only kind of like us coming back here, but also seeing how it's been changed ever since. Notice like the color is gone. There's like no color.
Dude.
It's no color.
Yeah.
It's very just monochromatic. There's a level of sameness here.
Yes.
And then also kind of like the feeling of dread with the music as they kind of like pan down into it.
Yeah, and you've got this is the literal symbol of the Empire at this point that's on the grounds of the Imperial Senate. You know what I mean? Like the fact that this is now being run by a system of government that is oppressive dictatorship is like apparent, you know? And I was picking up on the same thing you were picking up on. Like the monochromatic aspect of this is really fascinating to me because I don't expect there to be very few alien species here. Like I expect to see all the older white dudes of the Empire sitting around here.
Yeah.
Like this does not look like the
anything that's
diversity.
not humanoid is probably
it's
in humanoid to the point where it's very close. Like they might allow, like, say if you have some markings or something, but you're not going to see any head tails. You're not going to get you have to look very, very same. If not, it's going to be a problem.
Yeah, exactly. Which is just indicative of how much further Palpatine took it. Because like in the prequels, he's actually working with all these other species with the Separatists, but only so that he can use them. You know what I mean? Like it's really fascinating.
He's the master manipulator. Honestly, he had it on lock. He really did.
He did. He so did. All right, so this is fantastic. Let's keep going.
So fat and
see, what do you see? I mean, yeah, of course, we've got a person of color back here, but you mostly see these guys that look very. Again,
it's very kind of like Rogue One. It's very.
Yes.
You realize how corporate this is.
Yes.
It's very. It's like, oh yeah, it's like you have Tarkin basically just taking credit for an idea that he poo-pooed a long time ago. But I guess you kind of got to read the book to also get that knowledge. Because there's a book before Rogue One. I can't remember. It's about when whatchamacallit is younger, but can't remember the book, but I read it. But you get this idea where it's like, oh, so this is just like corporate structure, just people like pulling rank on one another, just lazy. The underlings are doing the work and they're taking the credit for it. They're sitting there drinking coffee while or the coffee of like the galaxy. And then everyone else is actually doing real work while they just like sit around with their titles.
Yes, and that's a better way of putting it. So when I say like the older white guys, I'm not trying to like say like, oh, white people bad, like because like look at me, I'm white. I'm not trying to say that, but what I'm trying to say is like that corporate structure is saying you have to look like this for us to bring you up in the ranks. And so you may not look exactly like us, but you're going to act like us because this is the way the Empire does stuff. Like, and I think it's very, to me, I know that the Empire is always compared to like Nazi Germany, and that's not untrue because they have the stormtroopers and all that, but it's also evocative to me in Star Wars, especially the original trilogy, how it's not just Nazism, it's also, the imperialism of England when the United States said, we're not going to be a part of this anymore. Like it's the same type of thing. It's like there's a few people that run the world and they better act like this, right? It's all of that. So there's a certain amount of like rebels. The fight of the rebels against the oppressors is similar to the Revolutionary War, not just similar to Nazi Germany in my mind, as far as George Lucas setting it up that way. So this is fascinating stuff. But of course, this is the great era of Star Wars too. I love how you said they're drinking coffee. It's so funny. They're just sipping their coffee.
Because they've grown so big that they've got it made.
Yes.
But then that's when you have situations where the US loses to guerrilla fighters.
Yeah.
So, it's, and so you have that too. But I mean, they're just like, we got it made. What are you going to do? We have the numbers. We have all the technology. We have the equipment. We got all the money. What are you going to do?
we're working on a Death Star. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like, come
we're
on.
working on what is essentially a small planet that can blow up other planets. Like,
Exactly.
because that's the only way we can really get your, I guess, your compliance. It's not because you
Right.
like us.
Right.
You comply with us because we have the weapon.
Yeah.
We have the gun, or we have the guns.
Exactly.
So it's
Exactly.
not like, oh, the empire is so big. Well, is it so big because people like you so much, or is it just because you go and you threaten to kill them and then that's it?
Right.
Like,
Exactly.
and then it's like they're like, well, I mean, I guess I don't want to die, so to live another day, then yes, we'll join the empire.
Exactly. Exactly. By the way, probably 10% off Disney.com for your Empire Tumblr right here. just heads up.
Satisfied. They can't imagine that someone like me.
So this,
And
so
love,
Andor is
love those
sneaking
moccasins.
in. Yeah, yeah. Also 10% off those on Disney.com
Yeah, it's
too.
like little, like almost like a little pair of wallabies, a little,
Yeah.
Shouts out to Wu-Tang,
That's perfect. All right, so then we're gonna see Andor growing up
Inside
here
their
in a minute.
house.
There he is. And I don't know how they did this because I don't think this is de-aging. Maybe it's just because we don't see Diego Luna without facial hair, but he like legit looks at 10 years younger,
Yeah, he looks way younger in this.
Yeah,
But it's a
crazy.
perfect example of like they've grown so big, you don't know who's in your ranks. You just,
True.
I mean, you're like, hey, they're wearing the outfit, so that's it. And they don't
Yeah.
ask any questions.
Exactly. And by the way, when I'm watching this trailer and stopping it, I can't see any comments, so we will get to comments, but we'll have to get to them after we go through the trailer. We'll keep moving through.
Cassian Andor. The Empire is choking us so slowly. We're starting.
And this lady like appears throughout the trailer, and this lady has a perfect look about her. Like she's definitely adapted to the Empire's way of behaving. There's not a hair out of place on her head.
She looks very intense.
Yeah, very intense. Very intense. And you can see that like the guy, what's this dude's name? Skarsgård? Soren Skarsgård or whatever his name is. I don't remember.
Yeah. Like I know his voice, but I don't know his name. But
yeah, he's
like
in
when I hear
Thor.
his voice, I'm like, oh, that's the guy.
Yeah. And he's in Thor. He plays the scientist in Thor. But he's like, you can tell he's like, the Empire is choking us out so slowly. It's almost like he's a business leader on this planet that Diego Luna is also on right now, and like the Empire is basically taking over his company slowly, right? And then you just get that feeling because like he definitely is a guy with power too. It's obvious as we go through the trailer. He also has power.
Okay, now that's interesting that you said that. I like that take because when I was watching this, I was like, well, maybe he's like ex-military or something.
Right.
I was like, because he obviously, he's obviously got some wherewithal about him, and he knows kind of what's going on. He's able to speak to these other. We'll see later, like I don't know, the congressmen or senators or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But then you also see him in a fighter jet or a fighter, not fighter jet, a fighter. Craft. I don't know.
Right, Corvette or something.
So So I'm like, I was like, maybe he's like ex-military. But yeah, we'll find out later. But yeah, I do like the whole choking us slowly thing. Yeah. And it does seem like more of a, hey, look, we both hate the Empire, right? So, hey, want to work with me?
Exactly. Oh, and I love seeing. I mean, if you see the Death Troopers, like anytime, those are awesome. I can't wait for their sound effect of their voices when they talk to each other. Are so good too.
Yeah,
it's perfect.
We're starting not to notice.
Now, this is again this industrialist type look is just so cool. Like I love that aspect of it where it's like, I don't know, it just looks like pieced together stuff. Like you see in the background here, it's all this same kind of just industrialism that like the Empire probably didn't want you to see because it was on all these other planets where they were building stuff.
Yeah.
It's just cool, man. That's like, I love the way they do that. Even this ship looks so bizarre. Like, I don't know what this ship is going to do.
And like almost all this stuff that either they're building or maybe they left behind or, just stuff that it's just waste of the Empire.
Yes,
it's just
exactly.
Like, just extra stuff that they just throw away.
Yeah,
which is really awesome.
And if you're not on Coruscant, they don't care about your planet. You know what I mean? Like,
No,
they
nah.
don't care. Oh, it's cool.
What I'm asking is this. Wouldn't you rather give it all to something real?
Okay, right there.
Yeah.
Right there, that look at least made me think, because when he said, give it to something real, and then you start, of course the music changes, and you see him kind of step out of a more fighter looking ship,
Yes.
then at least I start to think like maybe he's ex-military or something.
Oh,
Maybe
yeah.
maybe, but he could also be someone who was like he was the mayor, or he was, and so
Exactly.
the Empire stepped in, and
Yep.
now his older constituents are like, well, hey, like you used to run the city like this and everything was great, and now they're taking this stuff from us, and he can't really do anything about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Totally agree. I mean, it's got like, you've got this ship, and this ship is like equal parts Millennium Falcon, because you've got this
yeah.
aspect here, and the cockpit looks a little bit, but it also looks like it's built by the Empire. Like, it has a TIE fighter look to it as well.
Yeah.
So it's kind of got this blend of things, That's cool. That's really cool. And yeah, like you said, like his look right here when he pulls the hood over his head is cool. And it's funny because I don't know if this is intentional or not, but like he's putting on the look of the emperor to lead his little band of rebels, which is interesting, right? Like it's kind of a weird take.
Maybe kind of like fighting fire with fire kind of thing.
Exactly. Because even if you go back and you study the American Revolution, right, and you look at the people who were saying we should fight back against the British, a lot of them today we would for sure call them extremists. You know what I mean? Like to be able to say like, hey, I'm so pissed off that I'm willing to kill people, like a lot of people, to like take back this land. The very first people to start saying that are not like the people who are negotiating with them. It's like the people who are like fed up, like they're pissed.
It's funny because I've said this numerous times. Like when you look through history, whenever people are fed up, things burn. Yeah. And I'm like, even for people that kind of like romanticize like the American Revolution, it's like, well, like the Boston Tea Party was not a party. Like people died. Like a lot of people died. Exactly. And a lot of product and I guess property was destroyed.
Yes.
But the same people that talk about property destruction now.
Yeah, well, I mean that's the thing.
Romanticize, but it's just like looking at this. It's like, yeah, they're gonna have to blow some stuff up. They're gonna have to set some stuff on fire. Exactly. And I mean, of course, we know what happens after this,
right?
But yeah, to stop the Empire, you're not going to say, hey, Empire, stop it. And they're going to say, well, all right.
Exactly. Well, and I think that Rogue One did a really good job of this. And now this series looks like it's going to do a really good job of this too, of showcasing like Andor is not comfortable in Rogue One with doing some of the things that he has to do, but he believes in the mission, right? And so there's some people that are very comfortable with Revolution because they kind of want to watch something burn anyways, right? Like, and those are those are the first rung of revolutionaries. And then as the revolution moves forward and as that fight starts, then that fight starts to encroach on more people and violence starts to impact more people. And then those people like a Diego Luna go, well, I'm not as crazy as Saw Gerrera, but also my family's getting torn apart, so I better do something, right?
Yeah.
You're forced to take a side.
Yeah, it's like, well, I know there's people that work for the Empire because the Empire is the only work to be gotten.
Right.
But Saul's not wrong.
Exactly.
Like I can't even equate us blowing up this thing that has, say 50 people from the Empire.
Yeah.
When they blew up a planet.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
So it's like I can't, or they're getting ready to blow up a planet, or they've enslaved all the Wookiees, or they've done, all of these things where it's like, Saw is crazy, maybe, or is he doing what's necessary against an enemy like this?
Exactly. Well, and because you can't like what you see from Princess Leia in A New Hope is that she's still
Mm.
part of the Senate. I'm imagining
Yeah.
that Bail Organa and like that whole family are in one of those little cubicles that moves around in the big Imperial Senate.
Yeah.
And they're sitting there going like, well, how far, like we've tried negotiating, but like how far is this going to go, and when do we have to stop negotiating? And the Death Star is really the impetus for them in large part to like start
Yeah.
fighting, right? It's like, well, we can't let the Emperor have a Death Star, because then there is no Senate, which of course was what happens in A New Hope. The Senate is
True.
basically dissolved. So I think it's really fascinating to see, even before the reasonable leaders start to fight, who fights first. And when you see these people fighting and they fight for their various reasons, like if this guy's a business guy, and this happened a lot with the American Revolution too, it wasn't not like some sense of justice that they had of like, oh, I feel just. It was like, no, they just stole some of my tea and I'm sick and tired of them stealing my tea.
Yeah, they're cutting into X amount of profits.
Exactly.
And you know, I don't like that. And then they're also doing this. And then they're also doing that.
Correct. That's exactly right. That's exactly how it goes. And so this is really fascinating to me. But
I need all the heroes I can get.
by the way, I'm a sucker. Oh, I'm glad I paused it here. But I am a sucker for, just going back a second, anytime we see the ships again in the atmosphere going along the ground, like the fact that they have it going across
like the water skimming across the water.
It's so cool. Like when the X-Wings go across the water in The Force Awakens. I love that stuff. And then
Heroes I can get.
I need
2
all the heroes I can get. So 2 tubes. This is one of the
Yes.
coolest designed
And
characters.
it lets us know, okay, cool. So if he needs all the heroes he can get, that means that we're going to see some familiar faces. And then I was surprised to see the next face we see. I was honestly surprised.
Yeah. Let's get there. I just wanted to point out here, like this is
yes.
legit the X-Wing right there. Just the X-Wing. They have one. They've got one of them. It's maybe one of the Rebellion's first X-Wings.
For the greater good.
Yeah, see, now
Call it what you will.
Let's call it.
yeah, okay. First of all, thank goodness that now his name's totally slipping my mind. I love this actor.
Forrest Whitaker.
Forrest Whitaker. Thank you. Oh, I can't believe I blanked on that name. Forrest Whitaker is so good. He's so good. And we know that in Rogue One that he's starting to go, Saw Gerrera is starting to go a little crazy. So
Because of the alien thing.
Borg Gullet knows the truth.
Yeah.
Yes.
Borg Gullet.
Borg Gullet knows the truth. I love that. And so I love seeing him back here, because obviously he's one of the heroes that this dude is talking about. And so when Saw Gerrera, who's already an extremist, he's already had, look, I'm guessing he's been in a fight his whole life, because he's got a big scar across his face. And his first things that he says here in this trailer are, let's call it what it is. It's a war, man. Like,
and also we've seen him fight in the prequels, in the Clone Wars animated series. So now we know we already know he's down.
He's down.
We know he's down.
Yeah.
Cool. But I agree. He's like, look, let's call it what it is.
Yeah.
We're going to war. If we shoot a bullet over there, they're not gonna just accept it. They're gonna send something bigger back over here.
Yeah.
And then we're gonna have to retaliate.
Yep.
And it's gonna go on until one of the other side can't do anything else.
Exactly.
That's what it's gonna be.
That's what it's gonna be.
I think Saw is probably on some stuff like, hey, look, I don't mind fighting. I don't like them. You see, I'm over here doing my little stuff already that I can't.
Yeah.
But I just want you to know, when you step into this,
Yeah.
all of us are 2 tubes. You see, all these dudes look official. Like none of these dudes, they don't look like no punks over here. So you come over here, it's war. You know, it's like, you know, it might be a cold war, it might be a secret war.
Yeah. Well,
it's war.
It's also good because you know, if you don't call this war and you're Saw Gerrera or you're the rebels, then you're a terrorist, right? But what Saw is signaling is like, look, I'm not in this just to create terror. I'm in this to win against the enemy. I'm here to win. The force that I am creating has a reason to exist and goals that it needs to achieve, and we need to go achieve those goals. And so I think that's where it's like, look, I don't want to be called a terrorist anymore. I want to be called a general, and we're fighting a war. And I like that.
Yeah.
It's calcifying what the mission is, right? It's not just like, oh, we just do stuff to be annoying. It's like we do
And
stuff to get the planet back.
This also kind of goes with what I say all the time, that statement of one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter.
Exactly.
Because you might look at the news and they'll be like, they're terrorists. Yeah, but what do the people in their neighborhood call them? Do they also call them terrorists?
Yep.
Or are they cheering them on? Are they happy? And then if they are happy, then maybe we should figure out why they're happy. Because maybe there's something going on that we don't fully understand that these people are fighting for and about.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Not saying that they're right or wrong, but usually it's a little bit of this, a little bit of that.
Yep.
Where it's like, oh, well, they do have a point, and well, maybe this was too far, but when you're this small and you've been oppressed this long, then what is too far?
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And you have to like kind of you gotta like with Saw Gerrera, because in Rogue One, they're like, he's crazy. Oh, now it's like, is he crazy? Or has he always been right because they're building a Death Star?
Exactly.
Has he always been right?
Yeah, so is Saw Gerrera crazy, or is he just ahead of the curve? Basically, is what it amounts to. And we know that he's ahead of the curve because we know where this goes. And I like what you're saying there, because one of the reasons why. So my order of Star Wars right now is Mandalorian, Empire Strikes Back, Rogue One.
Okay.
And one of the reasons I like Rogue One so much is because it's great in the original trilogy when George Lucas just tells you like it's the evil empire and Darth Vader is the bad guy, and he just basically sells it to you in the first 3 seconds of the crawl, right? He's not even asking you like, should you agree with the Empire? He's like, no, the Empire's bad. I'm going to just tell you that right now. What I love about Rogue One is that it actually makes everything a little bit more realistic. So a lot of people, I think, who don't like Rogue One probably don't want that realism in Star Wars. They just want it to be like, look, I want it to be good versus evil. I want to root for one team. I want to root against another team. And what Rogue One does is it says, in order to make these kind of decisions, you've got to get your hands dirty too. And I like that. I like that about Star Wars. I like bounty hunters, and I don't want to just see like, oh, it's just the pure Jedi versus the pure evil Sith. I like just sitting in the gray for a while is cool to me. So I'm excited about this. And that's a good point that you brought up there, is like, it's interesting the way things can be flipped if you look at it from someone else's perspective. Yeah. All right, let's keep it moving.
War. There's fermenting out there, son. Pockets of fermenting.
And see, right there, we get to see even just what looks like general working guys at the dock or something like that. And you see the look on their faces. They're ready to do something. They might not know what to do. They look like they're just working at a scrapyard, but you see the look on their faces. They're ready to do something. And even to bring it into a real world context, and when Egypt had their uprisings, and there was someone on the ground that interviewed a lady, and she said, we're tired of being poor. We're tired of the government taking everything from us, and we have nothing else. That was it. That's all she said.
Yeah.
And their president had to sneak out of his own country, or prime minister or whatever they have,
right,
no disrespect.
Right.
But it's like, so you looking at these guys and they're like, we're working in a scrapyard.
Yep.
And we're getting less and less. It's just like, what do you think's about to happen?
Exactly. I love too, I love the design of their hard hats, because it almost is reminiscent of the droids that work on ships, and it's almost like someone designed those droids to have a hard hat as their head. It's like, oh, well, might as well just put it on there. That's kind of cool. I think you nailed it. That's totally what these guys look like. And then I love how it's like there are people even in the Empire, because this dude that's talking at this point in time, he looks like he's fully part of the Empire. I mean, look at this dude. Looks like he's fully part of the Empire. But he's I think what he's indicating is I'm a supervisor on the ground level, and it is not good down there, man. It may be good to be. You can sip your coffee on the bridge, but down here where we are, there's some things that are going on that I'm not sure about.
Yeah, people are stealing stuff. I don't know where it's going, and they're not just stealing food; they're stealing equipment. They, a crate of grenades is missing. Like, like, hey guys, y'all better pay attention.
Exactly.
Don't worry about it. What are they going to do? One crate of grenades.
Some dude took an AK-47. He's out in the forest. Yeah, you better get this guy. Oh, by the way, I wanted to say this too.
Fermenting.
1 second. This one right here. I thought this was crazy. I have no clue where this is.
Yeah, me neither.
But this design is fantastic. I mean, talk about like it's almost like Blade Runner meets like modern day New York. It's like not so grungy that it's like, but it's not so Coruscant either. It's like this, I don't know. I love this design. It is cool. And put an elevator on the outside of a building. I'm always happy about that.
Yeah, that's always cool.
You're in my net.
Yeah, this is fantastic.
So I'm guessing that's her voice.
Yeah,
because it shows her when we hear it. But she definitely looks like the type that's going to kind of orchestrate a way to, like, she's noticing things and she's like, oh, I can catch these guys in the act.
Yeah.
I think I can stop these guys on my own. Of course, because you want to look good and you get your promotion,
Yeah.
All this stuff that not Tarkin, but the other guy, the other guy was trying to do.
Oh yeah, exactly.
In Rogue One, I can't remember his name now.
Yeah.
But the one with the white, and he looked good in the white coat too. He had the little white cape and stuff.
Krennic,
yes.
Yeah.
Krennic. Good old Krennic.
Dude, I think he's a great character. But look at this design too. Look at this design. It's like it's super clean. So it's cleaner than what you see in like in the original trilogy, but it looks like it's from that same era. It's like this is when the Empire was at the height of its power in many ways. It's so crazy.
Are you a fish? Or are you a thief?
By the way, I want to hear the end of that metaphor. Like, what? Why is it? What is the difference between a fish and a thief? Like, I don't know.
Because I was like, what?
What are you talking?
I was like,
they turn it around and they're talking. She's talking to like, what's the dude's name from It's a Trap guy? She's talking to that dude.
What's that dude's name? Man. Admiral Akbar.
Thank you. Dude, I got this long COVID and my brain fog. I can't remember anything half the time. But she turns around and he's talking to him. That'd be funny. That'd be a good joke. All right. So somebody's putting on a ring here. I didn't even notice that the first time I watched the trailer. Okay. So here he is again. And this is where you were talking about earlier, where he does look like he's part of the system in some way. Like, I know his hair is longer and it's kind of like unkempt or whatever, but like you can tell that he's sort of part of an aristocracy of some kind. Like this is not like the guys we were just seeing loading the truck or whatever. Like this is different. This guy's different.
You're slipping.
Yeah, see? Like, look at this guy. Look at that car, dude. It's like an old Cadillac or something.
And kind of like this fake laugh that he does to welcome whoever this is.
Yes, exactly.
It's like, everybody's, and this is the political intrigue that I wanted to see, because it's not that politics are boring, because a lot of people are like, politics are boring. No, politics can be super, exciting in movies. You just have to write it.
Yeah, that's right. And this is
like here, you start to see where it's like, oh, there's a whole bunch of people like they're lying to each other, they're keeping stuff from one another. Yep. Stuff is brewing on the ground. Like, it's interesting.
Yeah. Oh, totally. And by the way, this is not, I don't think this is Emilia Clarke, but look, it kind of looks like Emilia Clarke, dude. I can't remember her character's name. Kira?
Ah, man.
Isn't that her name? Kira or whatever? Anyways, in Solo. That would be crazy to see her. But look at that. Like, she's got a chauffeur. So these people are wealthy.
Yeah. These people got some money.
Yeah. These people have some money.
They have Republic credits.
That's right. Exactly right.
I've just been hiding.
And he's back in the ship. So he's got this shorter haircut here. And he's saying
I guess this is probably when he decides like things, ish got real.
Exactly. And I like the juxtaposition of him being like, hey, look, when I have the longer hair, Oh, I missed it. Back in here, and I'm
Yeah.
friendly. I'm part of the aristocracy, but then don't make me mad because then I get my shorter hair.
Yeah.
Now
Get the
this.
shortcut.
That's right. That's right. There you go. There's that shot where you were talking about it being like he's in a Corvette or something, like a mid-sized kind of vehicle. And look at this ship,
awesome.
dude. This ship is crazy up here. This big capital ship. It's got this giant.
Yeah.
I don't know what these are for.
I guess that's for communications. Maybe it's a communications hub or something.
Yeah, maybe it is. If he gives us a line and says, what does the guy say? A communications blockade can only mean one thing: invasion.
Oh.
I want that. I want that. That sounds awesome.
That's perfect.
Cool.
Thing.
Yeah. That's probably, by the way, that ship that was just headed up right there. That might be that same limousine ship that we saw earlier that was sitting on his dock or whatever.
Nice.
It's kind of got that feel to it.
As long as
And then Return of Mon Mothma, you can't go wrong there. That's awesome.
And even seeing kind of like the city outside of this, I'm wondering, like, is this just another side of Coruscant, or is this a Coruscant-like planet? Yeah. But I'm assuming if it's not Coruscant, it's definitely one of the what is it called? The core planets or whatever.
Yeah. For sure. And this is really interesting too. I before the pandemic started, this is back in like 2019. My wife and I went on our 10-year anniversary, and we did a trip through Germany. And one of the places we went to as a part of this trip through Germany was they showed us the Nazi Congress and the place where they had the Nazi rallies, where they had the big gold swastika or whatever. So crazy, creepy place, right? It looks very much like this kind of design too.
Wow.
Where you've got like a big like logo out front, but it's not even a contrasting color. And then you've got just this very stark, all like you said earlier, you called it like that monochrome look to it. It is terrifying, dude. It is like, who is behind this? And we do not want to join with them. There is no creativity.
Like you walk in and you're like, what are y'all doing in here?
Yeah. Can you imagine if you walk into your buddy's house and it looks like this? You're like, whoa, dude. What are you into? Exactly. Yikes. But I love Mon Mothma and then she's clearly like working from the inside too. So you've got this guy who's working. So
because we definitely know where she ends up.
Yeah, exactly. And there's something cool about seeing the layers of where the rebellion is. So the rebellion isn't just the aristocracy, or the rebellion isn't just the guys who are loading trucks. Like, it is people who are involved in the government who see this as being bad. It's people who are involved in commerce who see it's bad. It's people who are involved at the ground levels that see it's bad. So all of that is super, super cool too.
Thinks I'm an irritation. There's a good chance they'll miss what I'm really doing.
What are you really doing?
And that guy's terrified.
I like that. I like that. Because once again, this shows how exciting politics can be.
Yes.
You know, like she said, as long as they think I'm an irritation.
Yep.
You know, so right now they're like, oh, she's just always complaining about this, complaining about that. But you're throwing up this front because you might be funneling money to Saw Gerrera or something like that, or you know, sneakily letting him know where the shipments of spice are or something like that. You know, something like that, where you need those people that will fight with you at those levels because they can let you know sort of security details of, you know, very key points and places. The only thing is that makes their job, which makes it exciting for us, that makes their job extremely high risk because even though she's a senator, or, you know, I think they're senators at this point, because I think at the point of the empire, there's only governors and senators when it comes to like governance or whatever.
Right.
So like she might have her personal guard, but that's it. And if the troopers come, those 2, maybe 4 people can only do so much. They can maybe provide an escape for you, but then you're on your own. You know, so, you know, it is a very, you know, it is a very dangerous game. And who knows if one of your personal guard are going to agree with you.
Yeah,
You know, one of your personal guards could be a snitch for the Empire.
that's right. That's right.
You know, so there's a lot here that we can have a lot of fun watching, which I'm excited about, especially with his
Yeah.
look. His look is kind of like what are you getting into, or maybe what have you gotten me into, depending on what their
Yes.
relationship is. Because
yes,
they could say like, well, you guys are senators from the same, you know, planet, so both of you got to go.
yep,
You know,
exactly. Well, and so okay. So we talk a lot about stakes and like there's questions about, well, do people need to die for there to be stakes? And like not always, because look at this scene. This scene, we don't even know. This is just a trailer, and this is 2 seconds out of the trailer. But these are really wealthy people who have influence in the Empire. And the reason why this has stakes is because his look tells me this dude is gonna lose a lot if she keeps doing what she's doing. There are stakes here for this guy. So he's like, I may not agree with the Empire, but also I like sipping back on these expensive drinks. I like my blue milk that's delivered to my door. I don't know if I want to like rock the boat here.
And I've seen their work camps. You know, you know, let's not get too crazy.
Exactly. I mean, maybe this guy's been over to Palp's house for dinner. I mean, we don't know. You know, like this is wild stuff. I love it.
What are you really doing?
This is what revolution looks like.
Now, I don't know who that character is at all. Do you have any clue who that is?
No, I've never heard her name, and I've never seen her, but I do like the fact that we get the line saying this is what revolution looks like, which is like kind of what we've been talking about. It's all levels. It isn't just people, even though it's mostly people on the ground, because people on the ground are the ones who like, we're feeling it the most because we're on the bottom.
Right.
But, you know, there are some people that are, you know, either businessmen or, you know, maybe ex-military that don't like where it's going, or, you know, senators that are like, hey, my people are, you know, they might not be in the pocket of the Empire. They're like, hey, my people on my planet are, you know, my people are suffering. It's, you know, you never know what level of people will want to be involved. And that's a good example of like how these rebellions are starting to build up and get started.
Right.
So
exactly.
So I love that line.
I love that line too. That's awesome.
What revolution looks like.
I'm tired of losing.
It's kind of amazing how little Andor there is in this actual trailer. You know,
You're
like
right.
it's like he's called Andor. Yeah, he's barely in it. It's barely in it.
And now we're finding out this is more of maybe like an ensemble cast, I guess.
Exactly. And I love that part of it because, like you just said,
I'm tired of losing.
Oh yeah, that's another great line. I mean, the trailer is full of great lines, which means that the people who made the trailer have all of this wealth of good writing to draw from that they can just splash in, right? Like, that's awesome. But yeah, what I love about the ensemble is, again, it's not like there's one type of person who's fighting back. This is a layered thing. This is affecting so many different kinds of lives. That's just good stuff. And then he goes full. I am assuming that's probably Andor, and he goes full. Tom Cruise.
Mission Impossible.
Just Mission Impossible. He's got to take it on, or like James Bond, same thing. Like they got to take off.
Yeah,
that's pretty dope. And then this four-armed doctor. Now I don't know who this is. Maybe it's just like one of the ground level troops.
This is one of the things that I think is super cool. I really wanted to know what this is.
Yeah,
because you know, this kind of like back alley doctor. You know, is it an enhancement? Is it, you know, because we saw kind of what went on in Boba Fett. So is this like an enhancement, or what is this? Or is he just saving someone's life?
Yeah, and he looks super similar to the character from The Force Awakens, who has the, you know, she's the older lady. What's her?
Maz Kanata.
Yeah. It looks like he's sort of similar looking to her. So I wonder if it's similar species or what. But this is fascinating. Yeah, this is good stuff. Well, then you see that brief shot of all the people rising up too.
Yep.
You know, like, oh, this cannot keep going on. That's pretty wild too. Oh, that's. I never get tired of TIE fighters either, dude. I go see TIE fighters all the time.
And it looks like there's more than one place kind of rising up at the same time.
Yes.
So,
yes.
For instance,
yeah, I was trying to get this.
Like in Rebels, when we see Rebels, most of Rebels is based around Lothal.
Right.
Even though they go to a couple other places, it's mostly based around Lothal. And here it looks like we might get like maybe 2, maybe 3 different planets that are, kind of sort of like rising up at the same time. And of course, since we know, I don't know if we know how far ahead of Rogue One this is.
Yeah.
I don't know, but we definitely know that, okay, this is building. And I guess the Empire will start recognizing this is building, because this is, I have to look and see, is this is after Rebels, I think?
Yeah, this feels okay. So just from a feelings, or like without doing any research at all, I feel like this is closer to like it seems like it's after Rebels, but around the same time as maybe Solo. It just has that feel to it. Like, and I would not be surprised, by the way, if we actually did see some of the characters from Solo in this one, right? Like,
that would be a nice little treat, especially since, honestly, over time I have warmed up to Solo.
Yeah,
Solo still has some of his stuff, but as a movie as a whole, especially outside of him getting his name, but as a whole, I've warmed up to that movie.
Yeah,
I'm not, I'll actually sit through that movie now.
Yeah. Well, and the reason why that's so compelling is because we know we're getting 18 episodes, which is a ton of episodes. So you can give us Kira, you can give us Beckett, you can give us, now if you're after Solo, you can actually give us Kira and Maul. We can get a live action Maul back in this series,
because there's always going to be a black market of some sort.
Exactly.
So how does that play out in the Empire? And is the Empire interested in trying to, kind of like stomp that out, or do they just realize that, hey, there's always going to be a black market, so just let them do what they do?
Well, imagine this too. Imagine that that the Skarsgård character is actually the owner of a spice mine, right? So he's operating the spice mine, and then the Empire comes in and they're getting in on his profits, and they keep squeezing his profits. He's like, I don't like this at all. So he hooks up with Saw Gerrera, and he could easily hook up with Maul too, because if he's selling spice to Maul, he could be part of that whole consortium. So that the whole thing could be like,
what was the name of that group?
Black Sun or something like that? Was it Black Sun?
Nah, not Black Sun. The Black Sun are the other guys.
The other ones.
What was he? I can't remember. Guys in the comments or in the chat, y'all let us know.
Yeah, you have to let us know.
But yeah, that'll be cool to get some of that thrown in here. Since we don't have any Jedi, which is I'm completely cool with. Like, we're seeing that you can get political intrigue, some kind of espionage stuff going on without directly having Jedi.
Exactly.
And then, because I mean, you can always reference them, like, in a way where, we're here because the Jedi did nothing or something like that. You can always have somebody, because there's always since we have people from the prequel era, there's going to be people that remember the Jedi and what they stood for. And they'll be like, where are they now? They might say something like that,
exactly.
Like, where are they now? They're not here to save us.
Exactly.
They don't even care. So that kind of thing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I love it. So we're at 10 seconds left.
Awesome.
So cool.
And
we gotta talk about this. Yeah, we gotta talk about that too. We gotta talk about that a little bit too. But I'm gonna go ahead and remove that from the screen so I can actually see everybody. So if you got comments on what we were talking about, like, leave them down below, and we'll address some of those comments. And then let me just say what's up to Theme Park Casual. And then we got a Facebook comment. And Facebook sometimes hides the person from me, so I'm not sure who you are. But the person said the Star Wars universe is in much better hands these days. My childhood joy and anticipation is back. So I don't know who said that, but that's awesome. So let's talk about a couple things. First of all, what do you think? Why push it back? Because we were supposed to get an end of August release, and now we're seeing it be pushed all the way back into the third week of September. So why do that? What's going on here?
I'm guessing maybe they're finishing up effects, maybe that, or maybe they're going to do something with D23 that they wanted to, maybe they wanted to introduce or something like that, something they wanted to announce.
Yeah.
Because that's the only thing I can think of. Maybe D23, or they're finishing up some stuff. Maybe there were some rewrites or something that they wanted to add in, or maybe there was an actor that they couldn't get, they could, so they reshot some stuff.
Oh, good point.
That's the only thing I could think.
Yeah. I've got a couple theories. A bunch
All
of
right.
people were saying online that they don't want to compete too much with She-Hulk. And I think that that's probably true to an extent.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. But I will also say that one of the things that I think is probably true is that they probably don't have the visual effects perfectly where they want them either. Because we've heard a lot about this lately, right? Like Marvel's having giant problems with this, trying to get people
the
involved.
effects community.
Yeah, the effects community's been complaining about it. So I get all of that, and I think that there could be something to that here as well. So because we know that these are largely in the can from a filming perspective, because they are giving us the first 3 all at once, right? So they've got most of that done. And I don't think, like, let's face it, Disney needs to figure out how to release 2 series at once. And I understand they kind of run into a problem with Ms. Marvel, because Ms. Marvel didn't get as much attention, and that may have been because of Kenobi finishing up. I get some of that, but at the same time, they need to figure out how to run a couple series at once. Otherwise, it's just going to be weird for the rest of, like, what are you going to do? Just have a new series constantly going? Maybe they can pull that off. But it seems to me like over the course of time, with some of their premiere series, they're going to have to be able to release a couple of them at one time. So I don't know. We'll see. But let us know in the comments how hyped you are about the trailer. I would say for me, this is the most excited I've been about Star Wars in a really, really, really long time.
Yeah, but we had to wait because we got season 2 of Bad Batch coming. We had to wait for that. We had to wait for Mandalorian. So, and Boba Fett was a roller coaster for me, where there was some cool stuff, and then there was also some stuff where I was just like, But now I think we're kind of back to where, all right, it's going to be great. We got some good stuff coming. Yeah. I'm still not super jazzed for Ahsoka, but that could change, because you know how Hannibal and I feel about Ahsoka. She's a beloved character that is a loose thread.
Yeah.
You start asking questions about her, a lot of Star Wars falls apart. Especially now that you're like, oh, she was hanging out with Luke. Really?
Yeah.
Well, all right. Okay. Well, then that makes me ask questions about a whole lot of his demeanor post Return of the Jedi, and his demeanor with his nephew, and his demeanor after his nephew had turned.
Yep.
Because it's like, well, he knew there was another Jedi out there. He didn't learn anything about resilience, about people failing and not. I mean, he knew about Obi-Wan now. It's like, so.
Yeah.
It's just, it's, even though Ahsoka is dope, she's my favorite Jedi. The fact that they're, like bringing out this show, I'm like, I don't know. When are you going to set this?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I just have to say that I'm hyped for this, because if I go back, I liked The Force Awakens. I know some people didn't like The Force Awakens. I liked The Force Awakens because I felt like it was Star Wars nostalgia, just served me on a plate, right? And then I loved Rogue One. And then after Rogue One is where things kind of started doing this.
It got weird.
It got weird. It got weird. And so for me to come back and go to like this era of Star Wars, these are the people. And by the way, I'm usually the guy that's also saying like we don't need to keep going back to the same era of Star Wars. Mm-hmm. However, when I know somebody's already given me that era, the way that I want to see that era, I'm like, okay,
this team will allow this to slide, but with Acolyte, I don't want to see anything between 3 and 4. With Ahsoka, I have to see something between 3 and 4, because unless you're about to say that this is Ahsoka is after 6, and which I would be interested in seeing, but I really want to go to the future. I've talked about it numerous times. I want to see the future.
Yeah.
To see what's next.
Yeah, exactly. Or go way back into the past and see some of the old Republic stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or sorry, the High Republic now.
yeah.
Now
Did they?
I don't get the
actually...
point of changing the name. Like you can keep the name. I know you're trying to like change the name because you're like, oh, we're the High Republic, not the old. It's like just play the hits, man. Use what works. It's not like someone else owns Old Republic. It's yours.
Are they actually saying that the High Republic replaces the Old Republic, or is it two different eras?
At least that's what it seemed like to me. I could be wrong. Let me know.
I don't know.
Yeah, it seems like it's supposed to be replacing it.
Yeah, we'll see.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Well, we talked for an hour on a 2.5-minute trailer. Yes. You're not going to see a trailer breakdown that goes on for an hour, very many places, but Michael and I are here to do it. So let everybody know. Let everybody know where they can find you, Mike, and where they should be. What kind of content you got coming up?
We have this week. We're probably going to play Multiverses sooner or later this week. We're going to be talking about Evil because Evil is good. We've been and then we're going to get into probably some album reviews this weekend. But of course, NERD, SOUL, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all those places, podcasts, TikTok, all that jazz. Feel free to come by. We talk hip hop and geek, and we have a good time. I will probably be at Long Beach Comic-Con, which is coming, and LA Comic-Con, which is also coming.
Oh, so, sweet. Yeah. That's awesome. Yeah, go check him out on all those places. Also, happy birthday, because I haven't actually talked to you.
Yes. Thank
you. Happy birthday to you. And go support him. Go support Mike for his birthday. Check out his Patreon. Yes. Go support him over there as well. I've been on his show, I don't know, like once a week for the last 3-4 weeks, it feels like.
Yeah, because there's so much stuff coming now.
I know.
It's like, okay, crazy. Cool. Let's talk about this or let's talk about that.
Yeah, it's awesome. It's awesome. So it's always been a pleasure. And for everybody else out there, make sure you're subscribed to this channel and either be in the Facebook group or check us out on YouTube so you don't miss out. In the meantime, we will check you all later. I hope you enjoyed the trailer as much as we did. I'm now pretty hyped for this. So we'll catch you guys all later on. Bye-bye, little Mike.
Say bye.
Bye.